Let me walk you through a real collaboration scenario using branches. So let's say Amy and I are going to work on a feature together. So one of us should create a feature branch and push it to GitHub. That is one way. But there is another way. We can create a branch directly on GitHub. So in this drop-down list, we can view all of our branches. We can also create a new branch. So I'm going to call this feature/change password. Enter. All right, now we have a new branch, and this branch is currently selected in this repository. Now look over here. This branch is even with master. So as we push to this branch, we can see how far this branch is ahead of master. This is very useful. Now back in the terminal, I'm going to run git fetch to get this new branch. So we got a new branch called feature/change password. We also got a new tag. That is the tag that we created earlier in this section. Now let me show you something. If we type git branch, we only see master. But what happened to our new branch? Well, let's run git branch -r. Look over here. We have a remote tracking branch. So when we ran fetch, we only got a remote tracking branch. Now we should create a private branch in our local repository that maps to this remote tracking branch. So we type git switch -c. We're going to call this feature/change password. Now we want this branch or this pointer to be at the same location as our remote tracking branch. So origin/feature/change password. All right, beautiful. Git is saying that this new branch is set up to track the remote branch from origin. Perfect. So here on my machine, I can add new commits to this branch and then push them to origin. Now I'm going to switch to another terminal window to simulate Amy's workspace. So here's Amy's workspace. Amy is going to start by cloning this repository. So we go over here, grab the URL of our repository. Good. Now we type git clone. All right, let's go to this repository. So here on Amy's workspace, if we type git branch, once again, we don't have that feature branch. So Amy should also create a private branch that maps to that remote branch. So git switch -c feature/change password. This branch should be based on origin/feature/change password. Great. Now on behalf of Amy, I'm going to make a commit and then push it to GitHub. So something really simple, we can echo password to file1, then make a commit and say update file1. Then we do a push, so git push. Beautiful. Let's verify that we have this new commit on GitHub. So here on the homepage of our repository, we can see this message, feature/change password had recent pushes 1 minute ago. Here we have a button for comparing and creating a pull request. Let's not worry about it yet. We'll talk about it soon. Instead, let's go to the list of our commits. So currently we have 4 commits. These are the commits on master. Let's change this to our feature branch. So here's the new commit that I just pushed. Beautiful. So Amy and I are going to keep pushing to this branch. And in the meantime, we have to pull each other's changes. And if there are conflicts, we have to resolve them and then do another push. Now, at some point, this feature is going to be complete. Let's say I'm the person responsible for closing this branch. So on my machine, first I have to bring in Amy's changes. So we run git pull. All right, we have a fast forward. Beautiful. Let's have a look at our history. So git log, one line all graph. Take a look. Our feature branch is 1 commit ahead of master. So we have to merge this branch into master. That is very easy. We switch to master and then run git merge feature/change password. Good. Once again, we have a fast forward merge because this is a very simplified example. In a real case scenario, most likely you will have conflicts. But I'm not going to repeat that here because we already talked about resolving conflicts. Now, let's look at our log again. Look, now master and feature/change password are pointing to the same commit. However, origin/master is 1 commit behind master. So here we have to do a push to send the final changes to GitHub. So I'm currently on master and I run git push. All right, our changes are now in GitHub. Let's look at our log one more time. So master and origin/master are now at the same location. Beautiful. Now here on GitHub, we have 5 commits. Let's have a quick look here. So here are the commits on master. Obviously, we have the commit that was for implementing the change password feature. So we're done with this feature. Now we should close this branch. So I'm going to type git push -d origin feature / change password. I'm going to remove this branch from origin as well as its remote tracking branch in my local repository. Good. Now let's look at our branches. We still have this local branch. We don't need it anymore. So let's remove it here as well. Git branch -d feature / change password. Beautiful. So on my machine, I only have the master branch. Let's look at our remote tracking branches as well. Git branch -r. Okay, we no longer have that remote tracking branch. Perfect. Now, what about Amy? Well, she's still on the feature branch. So on behalf of Amy, first we should switch to master. Now we should do a pull to bring in the merge changes that Mosh pushed. So git pull. Good. So now both Amy and I have the same history. Now let's look at our branches. We still have the private feature branch. So let's delete it real quick. Good. Now what about our remote tracking branches? So if we type git branch -r, look, we still have this remote tracking branch, even though this branch is removed from origin. To remove the tracking branches that are not on the remote, we type git remote prune origin. Now look, this remote tracking branch, origin /feature /change password, is pruned. So if we run git branch -r, we no longer see that remote tracking branch. So this is how 2 or more people can collaborate on a feature.